Hi grades 4, today we're going to do another math lesson. So I want you to please go grab your math textbook. You're going to open it to page 60. Okay, so you need to grab your textbooks, open to page 60, and I am going to do question 24 and 25 in this lesson today because we will be working with word problems. So please go grab your textbooks, open to page 60. We are looking at question 24 and 25. Okay, and in today's lesson, we will be working with solving word problems involving divisions of decimals. Okay, so all the previous lessons that we learned, we're going to use that knowledge for this lesson today, and you'll be working with word problems. So here we go. I am looking at page 60 of your textbook, and I'm reading the very top question. Okay, so here we go. Allie bought 5 boxes of cookies for $8. How much did 2 boxes cost? Now read it one more time. Allie bought 5 boxes of cookies for $8. How much did 2 boxes cost? Okay, so we know that Allie bought 5 boxes, they cost $8, and we need to know how much did 2 boxes cost. Okay, but before we begin our questions, before we do anything with it, we are going to read after reading the question, we are going to ask ourselves whether we are comparing 2 numbers in this question. So Allie bought 5 boxes of cookies for $8. How much did 2 boxes cost? Are we comparing 2 numbers? We are not comparing 2 numbers. Okay? Then I'm going to ask myself whether the problem asks for a part or a whole. Is it part of, are we going to find the part or whole? Are we given parts or are we given wholes? Well, we are given whole. Then I'm going to ask myself whether we are given equal parts. So if you're following in your textbook, you will see that there are 5 equal parts. So now we can model the information by drawing a whole and dividing it into 5 equal parts. Okay, so now I know my information. I read the question, I know my information. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to draw a bar to help me solve the question. So I know that there are how many equal parts? Because Allie bought 5 boxes. So each of these is a box. Okay, and in division, or in this, we call it each square, if we are to call it squares, it's unit. Okay, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, and 5 units. So we know there are 5 units. And all of these 5 units from the question I just read, we know that she bought 5 boxes of cookies and they were all $8, right? Now, how much did 2 boxes cost? So they're asking how much did 2 boxes, so 1 unit, 2 units. So how much did 2 boxes cost? But before we even go there and start finding out 2 boxes, we actually need to find the value of 1 first. Okay, so we are asking, well, what is the value of this 1? Okay, even before we go on to, so 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, and 5 units. Grades 4, I am looking at page 60, and I'm looking at question 24, and you have the same picture in your textbook. I'm looking at question 24. Okay, so we know 5 units cost Allie $8. They're asking us how much did 2 boxes cost. For us to find the value of 2 units first, we actually need to find the value of 1 unit first. Okay, so we got the information, we drew our bar graph, and now we know what do we need to find? The value of 1 unit. That's the first thing we need to find. So let's go ahead. So we know 5 units equal $1.08, right? That's the information we have. 1 unit, that's what we are going to look for. We are going to divide 8 to 5 to find 1 unit, okay? So let's go ahead, and on this side, I'm going to do 8. And remember, we have to solve it to 2 decimal places. And okay, so what we learned in our previous lessons, writing down, dividing up to 2 decimal places first, okay? So 5 times 1 gives me 5. And I am left with 8 take away 5 is 3. And to bring down, sorry, this decimal goes here. To bring this 0 down, okay? And then I have to, so 5 times 6 gives me 30. Still going to bring the 0 down. Since I can't do anything with the 0, I add a 0 at the top. So 1 unit costs me how much? 1 unit equals $1.60. Does that make sense? So now I know 1 unit equals $1.60, which means I can go ahead and I can find what would the value of 2 units be. So 2 units equal 160 times 2, or I can either use multiplication or I can do addition, okay? So I can either do 160 plus 160, or I can multiply it to 2 because we are finding the value of 2 units. So let's do it both ways. Let's do our adding. So 0 plus 0 gives me 0, 6 and 6 gives me 12. I'm not going to forget my decimal. I'm going to take my 1 over, and this gives me $3.20. Okay? Or you can multiply. So we can multiply. Remember how we multiply our decimals. So 1.60 times 2. And let's see if we get the same answer still. Okay, so 2 times 0 gives me 0. 2 times 6 gives me 12. Not forget my decimal. And I'm going to carry this over. 2 times 1 gives me 2 plus 1. 3. So I got my answer. I can either add, but I would have to add 2 numbers, or I can just, in one step, I can multiply. Okay? Does that make sense? So that means 2 boxes cost $3.20. Okay, this was your problem 24 on page 60. Now let's do our next question, which is question 25 for grade 4. Again, I'm looking at page 60. Okay? So we are going to go on, and I'm going to read the question, and please listen carefully. Follow it along in your textbook. I'm reading question 25 on page 60. Okay? Page 60, task number 25. Taylor has $5.40. She has 3 times as much money as Bonita. How much more money does Taylor have than Bonita? Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. Taylor has $5.40. She has 3 times as much money as Bonita. How much more money does Taylor have than Bonita? Okay, just like last time, I asked 3 questions. Number 1, are we comparing 2 numbers? Yes, we are. We are comparing Taylor and Bonita's. Okay, so since we are told how much money Taylor has compared to Bonita, so we are comparing two numbers. So we can draw two bars to compare them. Okay, so just like your textbook has drawn two bars, right? And just following your textbook, grades 4. Okay, so I just drew the bar, and this is just like your textbook. So this is T for Taylor, B for Bonita. Okay, now we know that Taylor has $5.40. So all together, Taylor has $5.40. Okay, so we know, so we can compare these two. Then we ask, are we given equal units? Okay, so we can draw two bars to compare them, and then we ask ourselves, are we given equal units? We are given equal units, so we can draw 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units. We can draw 3 units for Taylor and 1 unit for Bonita. Does that make sense? Because it says she has 3 times as much money as Bonita. So 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Therefore, we know there are 3 units for Taylor. And then, how much money does Taylor have than Bonita? So we are given 3 units for Taylor, okay? And we can draw 3 units for Taylor and 1 for Bonita, okay, as shown in your textbook. Then we ask, what do we need to find? So what's the question? What's the question asking us? The question is asking us how much more money Taylor has than Bonita, right? Then we ask how many units that is. So how many units that is? Taylor has 2 more units than Bonita, right? Bonita has 1 unit, Taylor has only 2 units. So again, to answer the problem, first we need to find the value of 1 unit. Just like our previous question, we need to find, if they ask you to find something 2 units or something, we always need to find the value of 1 unit first, okay? Then we can find the value of 2 units by either we can subtract, we can add, or we can multiply, okay? Just like we learned in the last one, we could add or we could multiply. So let's see, what do we need to do here? Okay, so we know 3 units, so 1 unit, 2 units, and 3 units. 3 units cost us, or the value of 3 units equals $5.40. That's the unit, that's the value of 3 units. Now we need to find the value of 1 unit. So what are we going to do? So 1 unit equals 5. So we're going to do $5.40 divided by 3. Okay, so we're going to find what is 3 units. What do we get when we divide $5.40 to 3 units, or 3? So 5.40 divided by 3, okay? So 3 times 1 gives me 3. Don't forget my decimal. Okay, 5 take away 3 leaves me with 2. Then I bring this 4 down. I say my 3 times table. So 3 times what gives me 24? 3 times 8 gives me 24. Okay. Then I'm left with, so I bring this 0 all the way down. Since I can't do anything with it, put a 0 at the top, which means my 1 unit costs me $1.80. Okay, so $1.80. Now I can find what is the value of 2 units. So just like in our previous question, we could either multiply $1.80 to 2, because that's the number of units we're trying to find out, or we can go ahead and we can add $1.80 2 times, okay? So we can add $1.80 plus $1.80. So let's do it both ways. We're going to multiply and we're going to add as well. So 2 units equal $1.80 times 2, or we can add it. Okay, so 0 and 0 gives me 0, 8 and 8 gives me 16, plus 1 over here, okay, $3.60. Let's multiply the same number so that we get a kind of a review for how to multiply our decimals. So I have $1.80. I'm going to multiply it to 2. 2 times 0 gives me 0. 2 times 8 gives me 16. Not forgetting my decimal. Carrying over my 1. 2 times 1 gives me 2. Plus 1, 3. Okay? So which means the value of 2 units, so 2 units cost us $3.60. So 2 units equal $3.60. Now, if I were to ask you how much money they have all together, so how much money does Bonita and Taylor have all together? So now we know so we can basically just add 5.40 and 3.60 to see how much they have all together, because now we have 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, and 4 units. So we can do it either this way. We can either add, or we can multiply. What's the cost of 1 unit? So 1 unit was $1.80, right? So I can write it down here. 180, 180, 180, right? And we also know, so all together, 180, 180, and 180, and also 180. So we can, to find out the total of both Taylor and Bonita, we can either add $5.40 and 180 together to see what we get, or what we can do is we can do 180 times 4, because that's the number of units we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we do 180 times 4, so let's do 180 times 4, that would give us the value of what both Taylor and Bonita have all together. So 4 times 0 gives me 0. 4 times 8 gives me 32. I almost went blank there for a minute. And 4, so I need to not forget my decimal. 4 times 1 gives me 4, plus 3 would give me 7. So all together, Bonita and Taylor have all together. Okay, they have $7.20. Does that make sense? So we could have done it. So because we found the value of 1 unit, which was $1.80, and then we could either add these numbers 4 times. So we can either add them together, or we can multiply 180 times 4, and it would tell us how much they have all together. Does that make sense? So on that note, grades 4,